This is a Hot Pie Media original.
Nice. And that progression game is like something I've always appreciated.
Absolutely.
Watching somebody go from this to what they blossom into, man. So like being able to, guys, was something that in every walk of life that I've always appreciated watching somebody go. When we had the Black and Tan podcast, we had the greatest hip hop artist of all time, March Madness thing.
Yeah.
And my argument for Jay-Z was his progression.
Yeah.
What he started off as and where he is
No.
at that time. Where he's at now, I don't know. Dude's hair is looking that fucking with Marina Abramovich and all that. I don't know about that. But at the time, it was like look where he started and then look where he got to, you know, and look how he changed throughout the years. And that's always been something that I've always appreciated and saluted was like progression.
For sure.
Yeah.
Media. Be done beat. Made by G Bro.
Welcome to the gray area. Here's your host, Aaron Cheatham.
What up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Media. First off, thank you guys for watching the video. While you're here, go ahead and hit that like button. Let us know you were here. You don't even know how much that helps. Just hitting that like button helps more people find this video and videos like this from Hot Pie in the gray area. So first and foremost, thank you. Hit the like button. Don't be cheap. It don't cost you shit. Just hit the like button, all right? While you're at it, if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. Tell a friend about it. Share it. Let other people know. We're dropping knowledge. We're dropping dimes in here. We're like the J Kid of real estate podcasting once a month in this bitch. So make sure you share this with your friends. If you're on the audio only platforms, make sure you leave a review. 5 stars preferably. That would be dope. If not, see this face? Well, actually, if you're on the audio platform, I guess they don't see this face. But understand, there was a mean mug. There was ill intent behind my eyes. If you're not out there, you know, supporting the cause. But off top, real talk. Thank you guys for being here. We're joined again by Beni Aguirre and Eian Jackson of the listing firm. What's up, guys?
What's going on?
Doing well. How about you?
Hey, man, I'm doing about as good as I was 10 minutes ago.
For the crying Jordan face.
You guys did a really good job in the first episode breaking down the market and how we got to where we're at now. My question for you for this episode, though, is if somebody was looking to get into real estate, how would they go about getting into that? Is it as simple as going? Is there a real estate school? Do you go?
Yeah.
So is there?
Yeah.
Okay, so you go to real estate school and.
Now,
and then
are you asking to become a real estate agent or just get in real estate investing in general?
I thought it was the same. I didn't know there was a.
Well, you can do both.
I don't know. What's the difference?
So for instance, to become real estate agents, both Ian and I, we had to go through courses. We had to take classes. We had to pass a test with the state of Texas. And we have to be affiliated with a broker in order to do business here.
You can't just be on your own like Beni Aguirre, real estate dude.
I could if I wanted to start my own brokerage, yeah. But I have no interest in doing that at this time. I enjoy working with the listing firm. So, but you don't have to become an agent to be a real estate, to be in real estate. You can do wholesale. You don't even have to be a wholesaler. You can just be somebody that's interested in investing yourself. So,
what is Donald Trump?
Donald Trump was an investor, developer. He's not an agent.
Okay. But that's all still part of the same game.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So there's a lot of niches in real estate. Kind of similar with the comedy. How you have people with some certain niches in comedy. Mm-hmm. You have people with niches in real estate as well. So you have people that will do buy and hold, which is rental properties. You have people that will do owner financing, where they basically hold the notes. This is all investing side of the business. You don't necessarily have to have a license to do any of that. You just purchase the property and, you can turn around and then essentially rent it out, or you can find an own finance buyer that you can sell it to as well. But there's a multitude of different options in the real estate space.
So if you got cash, you can just go buy shit and sell it, and you don't have to have a license to do that?
The only thing you need to have a transaction take place is a willing seller to sell their property. Mm-hmm. And as long as you have the ability to purchase that property, then you have a transaction. You don't need to be licensed to do that. So when you hear for sale by owner, or what we call FSBO, you don't need a license to FSBO, for sale by owner.
Okay.
You don't necessarily need a license to sell your property. You can do it free will, and you as a stranger can walk up to the seller and just be like, "Hey, do you want to sell your property?" And they say yes. You guys can enter into a contract, and then you can sell that property. You don't need a licensed agent to do that.
So what do you need a licensed agent for?
Make sure you know what you're doing and you're protected.
Yes. So full disclosure, before we get into too many details, we are not attorneys. This is not legal advice.
You're not Michael Cargill?
No. These are just concepts and ideas that we're
sharing. Ideas, and opinions that we're sharing.
Lawyers.
Yeah. So, but there are a lot of moving parts to a real estate transaction. They like to say what we call time is of the essence, time, money,
Yep.
that whole thing. So it's best to always keep that in the forefront, when you're handling these type of transactions. So that's where real estate agents come into play. Yeah. We allow everything to stay kind of on track. If you have a good agent, some agents are just agent by name only. They're not really people who actually work day in, day out in the business. But if you have a good agent, they're going to keep you up on all the dates, make sure you don't miss any deadlines, make sure you're not risking any of your earnest money or losing earnest money for, a buyer side not completing what they need to do. They basically keep you in the confinements of the contract and make sure that all of the duties that are handled are taking place in that. That's what a real estate agent does in the transaction. A lot of those things are things that sellers and buyers just don't know because they don't deal with them on a regular basis. And that's where our value comes in, is because we know how to navigate those before they become potential problems. And you have to seek advice from attorneys. We kind of help you, guide you through that process before that takes place.
Without you guys, somebody would need an attorney to draw up the contract. If it was just, me trying to buy something from Benny.
Not necessarily.
No, we could just.
So you can do it. You did wholesaling. I mean, you can get the forms online.
Yeah.
One thing that people will do is they'll go to the wholesale. So they'll go to the property owner, they'll go to a seller and say, "Hey, just keep the math simple. Let's say I'm going to buy your property for $100,000. Okay. So that seller and that buyer agree. But in that contract, that buyer has a line in there that says he has the right to assign that contract to another end buyer. So what happens is that wholesaler who's contracted with a homeowner for $100,000 then tries to find another end buyer that's going to pay them a commission on that difference. So say they're purchasing from the seller at $100,000, they sell that contract right to the new buyer, the end buyer, for say a $20,000 profit. So they've sold the contract over. That guy is buying the right to purchase the property at $100,000, but in order to receive that buyer right is going to pay this wholesaler out $20,000. So all that wholesaler needed to do to get that property under contract, and sometimes not even more than option money or earnest money.
Yeah. I mean, so technically you do not need earnest money to have a valid contract in Texas. Option money is consideration. So it is, for the most part, title companies are going to request some type of option or something to put down, but you don't necessarily have to put down a dollar amount for the earnest for it to be a valid contract.
What is earnest money?
Earnest money is consideration for that you are willing to commit to this deal and move forward with it.
Do you have to have that, like earnest money? Is that cash in hand or is that a promise?
That's cash in hand typically.
Cash in hand, yeah. It goes towards the down payment of your purchase.
So if there's earnest money, what's the other option besides earnest money? Is it just credit?
So what it is the option fee is what it's called. And the option fee is for the option to purchase the property. So basically what it does is it gives you the option time, first right to buy, to do your due diligence, inspections, things of that nature. And then if you're not happy with what you see, you can terminate that contract without any penalties or anything like that due to you or due to the seller from you terminating that contract. You're basically paying for the option to buy that property. So yeah, that's actually the protection that helps wholesalers kind of navigate through some of the gray area. Is they typically will ask for a option period with a longer option time frame.
Yeah.
Usually you'll see something 30 to 45 days. And what they're doing is they're basically taking that contract and saying, hey, this is what I have under contract. We're asking this price. Will this work for you? And they're going around to different investors trying to find that investor that's going to want to buy it.
So in comparison, like a typical residential buyer that isn't a wholesaler that's buying a property, the more traditional route, their option period, when our market was crazy, sometimes you had no option period. But in our local market right now, you're looking at an average about 5 days. When I first started in the industry 10 years ago, I could get you anywhere from 7 to 10 pretty comfortably.
Yeah.
So in comparison, a wholesaler, they're going to ask for that seller to give them 30, 45 days. And in that time, they're going to go find that end buyer to pay them a commission.
All right. So you got wholesalers. You got
which you don't need a license for, by the way.
Yeah,
you don't need a license for.
Yeah.
So you can just sell shit. Got it.
You can sell contracts.
You need a little bit of cash reserve so you can put that option money down. But that's probably the easiest access point for people to get in the market and flip and make money without having equity or profit.
So most people that like when you see like flip this house or whatever those shows are, like people that are flipping, they're mostly doing it that way. They're not like actual agents.
Not necessarily. I mean, I work with a lot of flippers, investors, and we buy properties on the MLS, on the market. So it's just truly going in and looking at does the numbers make sense? And if the numbers make sense, you can do it, any way that, from the side, the seller or the buyer side, whatever it needs to be done to make sense.
What can you guys do that wholesalers can't do?
We can actually market the property.
Yeah.
So as a licensed agent, we'll sign a listing agreement with that seller, and we actually have the right to market that property. Yeah. A wholesaler technically can't market that property because they're not a licensed agent. They can sell their equitable interest into that contract. Now, there's been a lot of crackdown across the country on wholesalers because they've been doing some nefarious practices to where basically wholesalers, a lot of wholesalers don't have the intent to close on the property, which could technically be considered fraud in the inducement, because in order to enter into this contract, you're supposed to be you're basically saying that I can buy this property. And what the wholesaler is doing, if they don't have the ability to buy that property, they're flipping it to an end buyer. So they're operating in a gray area. We haven't seen any litigation as of yet that has become law in Texas to hone in on that. But in areas like Illinois, things of that nature, they've made it a requirement that wholesalers have a license now. So it's something that could be coming down the pipeline. And a lot of it is due to, you'll get a lot of times that wholesalers that are not acting in an ethical way because they're not obligated by any board or anything like that to act ethically, unlike we are.
Yeah.
So what they can do is they can get a property under contract, and if they get it under contract too high, they file what they call a memorandum at the title company, to where if they're not able to sell that contract and they couldn't perform, they still file a memorandum in hopes that if that seller does sell to somebody else, that whoever comes in and buys it will have to pay off their memorandum to basically have the property free and clear. So
it sounds like you guys are kind of like, I'm not saying you are lawyers, but the same way lawyers have to pass a bar to be licensed to practice law in a certain state.
We are practicing real estate, yes.
So it's kind of like you have to study, you take a test to pass
we have
the real estate version of the bar.
Yeah.
And then and then you're able to practice, whereas anybody can write up a contract between each other, like a personal contract, a handshake decision, whether it's real estate or law. But in order for it to be, I guess, legally
binding,
yes, you have to have somebody that's passed the test and is licensed.
Well, not from the contract standpoint. No, from the contract standpoint,
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Yeah. But as far as from a real estate agent perspective, we need to be licensed in order to deal with that transaction.
Is it the same?
The wholesaler doesn't have a fiduciary duty to you as a seller. Once you become our client, whether on the buyer or seller side, we have a fiduciary duty to look out for your best interest.
Fiduciary?
Fiduciary.
Can you spell
now I can't say it.
Fiduciary?
Fiduciary.
Fiduciary,
It's
yeah.
FIDUCARY.
I can't spell for shit.
What does
Yeah.
fiduciary mean?
Basically saying that we have an obligation to you as our client to look out for your best interest above and beyond anyone's best interest, even our own. So whether that is in listing your property, negotiating, giving you an accurate assessment of the value of your property, giving you an accurate assessment of the value of the property you're considering, giving you advice that we would give this advice to you as if we were giving this advice to ourselves, looking out for our own best interests. So that's our obligation, whereas a wholesaler doesn't necessarily have any obligation to that seller.
They can fuck you over because
They're looking out for their best interest. Just like if you were to buy a TV off Craigslist, the seller of that TV is looking out for his best interest. You as the buyer of that TV are looking out for your best interest. If you buy that TV
and it's a fleshlight, and then you're pissed.
Yeah.
And it's your obligation to keep it one thou wow regardless.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we have an ethical, moral obligation to do that for our clients.
Is the process the same state to state? Like, I know the laws are different state to state, but is the process to become an agent?
No, there's differences. I mean, most states you are going to have to take a test. I'm not personally licensed in any other state, so I can't really speak to that very much. But my thought, and I would expect that in every state you need to have a license and that you do have a fiduciary duty, moral, ethical obligation to look out for your client's best interest. So we are all part of the National Association of Realtors. So when you list with us, another benefit is versus saying listing by yourself as a FSBO, and going to like Zillow and just being on a couple platforms. When you list with us and you're selling your property, we're going to feed that into our local MLS district, whether it's Austin, where it's San Antonio, whatever major city you're in. And then that is going to sync with all the major real estate websites to publish your property and get that information out there to the buyers that are looking. If you're not working with an agent, you're not going through the MLS. Now, there are some other platforms you can go to that will get your property out there, but it's going to be limited and it's not going to send it out to the major sites that folks are looking at.
Okay. So sounds like this isn't the time to try to get into real estate, or is it?
If you're willing to work very hard and you're willing to hustle, just like anything in life, I think you can do it.
What makes this time tougher than like 10 years ago?
It's not necessarily tougher, but there's less inventory, and you really need to know what you're doing, because the agents that are green, that aren't well versed in negotiation, aren't well versed in areas of town, what those go for, what kind of deed restrictions, different aspects of it. You don't have a lot, honestly, to offer your client. So in this market, in a very competitive market, you either need to have mentors that are sitting there on every transaction guiding you, or you need somebody that knows what they're doing. And for instance, in Austin, when I came in close to 10 years ago, there was only roughly about 8,000 agents in our marketplace. Right now, I think we're hovering right around 17,000 agents.
How's anybody making money if there's that many agents?
Well, that's the problem. Less than 10% of the agents, I think last time I read this statistic, less than 10% of agents in Austin make at least $40,000.
What?
Yeah.
Then what's the purpose of getting in it?
Well, the 10% that are making that 40,000 and the folks that are making on the top of that, that's the purpose of getting in there.
Gotcha.
It's, just like you read about it, the 1%, that top 1% in real estate is absolutely killing it. But it's not like people see on HGTV. It's not, you're just going to go around, you're going to fly to Puerto Rico, show some vacationer 3 homes, and then you're getting the home. It's a lot of work, man. It's a lot of hustle. My first year in the industry wasn't, super easy, and I, busted my ass. I think, Ian, you can say, anyone that's getting in, unless you're just super local, you have tons of people that are just dying to do business with you. And, your friends and family, nobody wants to be your guinea pig. Everyone wants to see that you know what the hell you're doing before they want to do business with you. So, I'm all for, I have a niece here, I have going to UT. She's a senior. She has no interest in doing real estate, but I've tried to talk to her because I want to educate her on how best to utilize her money down the road in doing real estate. So any young folks, anybody that's willing to get in there and grind, sure. But if you're not going to grind, don't waste your time.
Yeah, there's no easy layups in real estate. You got to put in the work. You got to be prospecting daily, meeting, networking, that's your pipeline. You're building your pipeline. Everywhere you go, you got to think, I'm building my pipeline. So I need to be letting people know what kind of business that I do, how I can help, things of that nature. Just bringing some sort of value to those that you come in contact with on a regular basis. A lot of people are introverts and they can't do that, so that's the disconnect a lot of people have when they get into real estate, thinking it's going to be all glamour and glitz, easy peasy. You might even talk to a couple of brokers that hype you up, and then you turn around and you realize that it's not that at all. You got to actually get out there and know what you're doing. You got to do a lot of your own research. A lot of what and I'm assuming the same way with you, I was self-taught on a lot of these things because I get myself in scenarios and I want to know the best course. So don't be afraid to ask those partners that you're working with, whether it's the lender or title company or, whoever it is, inspector. What is your advice on how to handle this if an issue comes about? You got to lean on that support. So, for somebody that's coming into it, they just got to be ready to embrace the challenges, because there's going to be a whole bunch of challenges. There's going to have because you're managing people's personalities too. So when you throw that in the mix, you got the emotional roller coaster of just the process of buying and selling homes as well that you got to be prepared for. And a lot of people aren't ready to take on not only the day-to-day work grind, but the psychological aspect of helping buyers and sellers, get to the finish line of what you're trying to do. So.
But it's super rewarding.
Absolutely.
Helping, this is the biggest, for most people, this is the biggest financial purchase that they're going to have in their life. So being able to help somebody get what they want, being able to see somebody in their home, even when I go to y'all's home, and I've seen, over the last few years, how it was when y'all first got it, how it's changed, how it's got your own character. Like, that's a cool thing. And I feel pretty fortunate with my clients is I have ongoing relationships with the majority of them. I have friendships, and even the ones that, I'm not going to necessarily all their barbecues. When they have the need for real estate, they come back and, they come to me. When they have friends that need help, I got 3 referrals yesterday for folks. So I'm at a point in my business, and I'm definitely not the most successful realtor in Austin. I'm not going to, try to say that, but, I feel like I'm, doing well. I'm definitely not in that 10% that's not making, the 40,000 or whatever.
Right.
But it's most of my business, fortunately, at this time is coming from referral-based business. So that is very rewarding because, okay, I've taken good care of these people. They've appreciated the value that I've brought to them. And they are saying, hey, we want you to help somebody that we care about. We know that you cared about us, that you went that extra mile. I'm not going to fight everybody in the street, but they know that you're willing to go that extra mile. Now, if a builder does get up in my client's face when they're not doing something right, I'm going to let that builder know to get out of my client's face and do their job right. Time and money. Yeah. But no, I feel extremely blessed to do what I do. I love what I do, but that doesn't mean that it's not a grind.
So as we wrap this up, you said something that actually kind of just piqued my interest when you talked about your niece and investing in the real estate and stuff. So if somebody doesn't want to necessarily become an agent, but I've heard, real estate is what you need to be investing in. You got to get in, buying property, having that, building a portfolio and stuff. How does one do that? And what are the benefits of investing in real estate? Because I've heard that, but I don't know how to do that.
First piece of advice to you personally, you need a good lender. You need to go get a pre-qualification letter so you can determine right now with your current financial situation what you could buy, so you don't waste your time thinking you can afford $1 million house when you can afford a $300,000 house. But that lender, and having a good lender, and both Ian and I have wonderful partners that we work with that make this easy for our clients. So you want somebody to be able to tell you, hey, this is your debt to income ratio. If you're not in a position to be able to buy right now, this is what you need to do over the next 6 months to a year to get into position to buy. If you are ready to buy, here's what that financial picture looks like. Here's what that mortgage most likely will look like. And then let's go out and do it. So for somebody that's trying to invest for the first time, my personal recommendation is go buy your homestead. Go buy your homestead. If you don't have a homestead, buy that, let that equity build up. And as that equity builds up, you can borrow from your equity in your home via a product that's called a home equity line of credit. Now, that is a huge conversation, that we can get into. I don't know if we have enough time today.
No, but that's a whole episode.
strategy.
I'm going to write that. Write that down. home equity line of
home
credit?
equity line of credit for most investors beginning,
Help.
if they want to find a good source of income, if they have good equity in their home, it can enable them to go out and purchase property, because to purchase an investment property, if it's not considered a second home, you need usually about 25% to put down. So you put that 25% down, say if it's 100,000, you're putting down 25,000, again, just to keep the math simple. So now you can go out and you can purchase that property and you can rent it out, or you could flip it, do whatever. But if you're doing, like I mentioned earlier, I'm buying a duplex right now. So the lender is crediting me with 75% of the rental income to my debt to income ratio. I am putting down 25% to go out and purchase this duplex. The monthly payment that I'm getting for rent versus what my mortgage payment is more than what my mortgage payment is. Now, it's not an incredible amount, but it's more than that. But this is something that I'm planning on holding because I'm betting on the appreciation in our market.
We're gonna have to have a talk about a couple of different topics down the line. Like I want to definitely hit on the difference in commercial and residential real estate, and also the passive income game, like getting into
for sure
those getting into that, because that's something that the wife and I have talked about, and I know plenty of people are like looking on how to get into that either rental or building something that creates passive income, and I'm sure you guys know pathways to get to that.
Yeah, that's what we help. That's one of the cool things. I mean, that's what both of us help. I mean, I help, your traditional buying first-time home buyer and investor, everybody. But, that's one of the biggest things that we get to see is, your typical person, teacher, school teacher, retired person working for a semiconductor. This isn't their full-time gig doing real estate, but they realize the value. They want to invest in something that isn't just the market. Some people were scared off after 2008, what happened in the market. I used to be a financial advisor. I got out of banking because I didn't like what I saw transpire, during that time period. I wanted to be in something that was, to me, a cleaner product. And real estate, to me, is a more tangible, cleaner product. Doesn't mean I still don't invest in my retirement and all of that. But this is something that people can do to build true wealth for their family if they do it right. And we get to be a part of that, which is rewarding and amazing. And the cool thing is, as your clients grow, you grow with them.
Absolutely.
Boom.
Yeah.
Take on the new challenges with them.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's cool. That's what keeps it so fresh and so interesting. I mean, I have a client that I started off, it was just a rental. And now this dude is doing some of the highest, coolest design new builds in town.
Nice. Yeah. Nice. And that progression game is like something I've always appreciated.
Absolutely.
Watching somebody go from this to what they blossom into, man. So being able to, guys, want something that in every walk of life that I've always appreciated, watching somebody go. When we had the Black and Tan podcast, we had the greatest hip hop artist of all time, March Madness thing.
Yeah.
And my argument for Jay-Z was his progression.
Yeah.
What he started off as and where he is
now
at that time. Where he's at now, I don't know. Dude's hair is looking that fucking with Marina Abramovich and all that. I don't know about that, but at the time, it was like look where he started, and then look where he got to, and look how he changed throughout the years, and that's always been something that I've always appreciated and saluted, was like progression.
For sure.
Yeah,
No,
it sounds like you guys get a lot of bird's eye view of people's progression.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of people, another investing strategy that I've seen people switch over to in the recent last few years or so has been the Airbnb market.
Yeah. I've had clients do that for sure.
There's so many different avenues with real estate that can either get you that monthly cash flow that you're looking for, the lump sums from the flips, or, even doing the down payments on owner financing, things like that. There's just so many different moving parts that can help you grow your wealth long term. So it's a beautiful thing. I think everybody needs to invest in real estate.
We're gonna touch in. That's a whole nother episode for sure. We're gonna have to do that. Like, that's info that I'm like, well, if I didn't have somewhere to be, I'd be like, fuck it, y'all want to talk about that now? But tell me how to make money. I feel like Chris Rock and I'm Gonna Get You Sucker. Just how much for one rib? Show me how to make money, though.
Yeah. Can you report in my hand?
Yeah.
That is my favorite movie of all time. Like, I love that movie.
That's a great movie.
That is bar none, my favorite movie, dude.
Favorite?
Favorite movie of all time.
I can't knock you for that.
Yeah. My boy Dre and I, we used to just watch that. And I mean, there's just not a part of the movie that you just don't die and crack up to. I mean, I know lines, I know scenes.
Yo.
I want my own theme music when I walk, you know.
They shooting. What'd you get that badge for?
Screaming, I was whistling.
You was whistling, Willie, get this bitch off me.
Don't make me hop after you.
Oh, dude.
Hey.
Oh, man. That's for the Instagram population, all these damn filters. That's
shit,
where it
right?
began.
That's where it began, right there.
That's where that fake shit began, all this plastic.
Tell the people where they can find you guys.
Easiest way to find me is probably my
Bring it in.
Easiest way to find me, is my Instagram handle, Beni Aguirre, ATX Real Estate.
BENI.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. BENI AGUIRRE ATX Real Estate.
That's that Cubano shit right there.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. For me, Facebook, listing firm SA, /SA is the best way to find me. And, it's got my contact information there as far as, I do the old Mike Jones, hit me up on my phone.
There you go. There you go.
Text. I'm old school. I can't help it. But, that's the best way to reach out to me, man. And hopefully we can help people out.
Boom. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you learned anything today, if you felt like this was informative to you in any way, hit that like button, leave a comment. If you have questions or whatever you want to ask the guys, we can get them answered here on the show. You guys will probably come up with like more specific, better questions than I can because my knowledge base is so limited in this, but I'm learning a lot thanks to you guys. So appreciate that. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Like I said, subscribe if you enjoy this content. We do the real estate thing once a month. I got my guest on once a month. We're reading children's books. We're playing games. We're doing a little bit of everything for everybody here. So if you're enjoying what you're seeing here, what we're putting down on the Gray Area Podcast channel here on Hot Pie, hit that subscribe button, man. Become part of the community. Become part of the conversation. You can always find us at Podcast The Gray Area on Instagram and Podcast Gray Area on Twitter. Facebook, search Gray Area Podcast. You'll find us there. And you can find me at, as soon as I said you can find me, I got a lyric in my head. And I was like,
Bust a verse.
Yeah, I was finna, never mind.
You got big.
You can find me in the club, bottle full of bud with mom and never mind. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at _Aaron Cheatham. And I'll be all around, man. I'll be in Fort Worth in a couple weeks on the 20th, I believe. Well, hell, by the time y'all see this, it'll already happen. I'll be in Houston, though. I'll be in Houston for Skank Fest, November 5th through 7th. The fuck y'all laughing at? See, I'm trying to read. I'm trying to do. Hold on. I'm trying to be serious with the people. Don't laugh right now.
You said skank.
Skank Fest.
Skank Fest.
Awesome.
I almost sounded like Clifton. Clifton was my mama's boyfriend, and he passed away a few years ago. Same year as my granny. But Clifton was this country ass Mississippi nigga, and he would like farm and shit in my mom's backyard. He had like mad crops, and so my wife, y'all know her very well. Ashley, she she an asshole sometimes, and so Clifton.
See how he tried to get us to co-sign that?
You felt that silent.
No,
hey,
not asshole in a bad way. You follow me. Clifton had a hard Mississippi twang, and he would say shit funny as hell. So he's in the backyard one day showing us all his crops and stuff, and he's like, "These here squabes, got some cogween, turtle green. Right here got kumquat." And I was like, "You got what now? What's that one right there?" Kumquat. She was like, "What's that, Clifton?" Kumquat right there. Kumquat. Kumquats. Kumquat, cogween, squabe. I got some green bean over here. And Ashley was like, "Tell me what that is, Clifton." "Oh, that right there. That's well."
That's squat.
That squirrel over here. Watch out for whole glass right there. I gonna shout out buttermilk squirrel. Hey, this is the Gray Area Podcast. Talking real estate with my boys Beni Aguirre and Eian Jackson. Thank you guys for tuning in. Come back, subscribe, like, share, enjoy, be kind to one another. And until next time, here's mud in your eyes. Peace.
Thanks for listening. You can find more episodes and all of our other Hot Pie Media originals baked fresh daily at our home online at hotpiemedia.com, the Hot Pie Media YouTube channel, or wherever you listen to podcasts.